And that response at the time was that 3 out of 4 patients had visual clearance, and 2 out of 5 patients had the histological clearance or complete response, so they were cancer-free.
Welcome back inside our proactive newsroom, and joining me now is Dr. Raza Bokhari. He is the CEO of Medicus Pharma. Dr. Bokhari, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I am doing really well, Steve. Thank you so much for having me back on your program.
Yeah, well, excited news out from the company today, talking about reporting more strong phase 2 response in your skin cancer study using SkinJect. And so let's take a step back and remind everyone about this trial that's going on. Then we'll talk about what you're seeing.
Indeed, Steve, we are very excited at Medicus Pharma with the data set that continues to come out after completing our phase 2 study for our lead asset, SkinJect, which is a novel immunotherapy that comes out of Carnegie Mellon and University of Pittsburgh, designed to non-invasively treat non-melanoma skin diseases, particularly basal cell carcinoma of the skin, which is the most common skin cancer and is an unmet medical need. And we are today so excited that our 90-patient study that we had shared a positive data set at the beginning of March, now through a pre-specified a per protocol analysis, which is a study that was designed for nodular type of basal cell carcinoma, the most common of the cancer, the one that is the prime candidate for surgical intervention, had 69 patients which were per protocol, and the data set now has moved from a positive data set to what we now believe is a registrational grade lead regimen for our 200 microgram needle patch. So I think we have made a major advancement towards commercialization through these findings.
Yeah. Maybe you can explain that to us a little bit about that change and what the data is telling you now, so people understand, because there's a lot of clinical terms that are being used of when you do these kind of things, but in essence, what you're trying to get through to patients is working. Is that accurate?
That is simply said. That is succinctly and absolutely true. That we have our study design was a triple arm study, a device control study with a 100 microgram low dose arm and a 200 microgram high dose arm, and with an excisional biopsy or a visual inspection post treatment on day 29 and day 57. So in a proof of concept study, we had created these variables to narrow down to what is the way forward for a registrational study. From our unaudited results of the 90 patients that we had shared in the beginning of March, it became started to become crystallized that the 200 microgram needle inspected at day 57 has the best response, and that response at the time was that 3 out of 4 patients had visual clearance, and 2 out of 5 patients had the histological clearance or complete response, so they were cancer-free. Now, with this pruned data, which is now, those 90 patients were an intent to treat, but as we looked down and had the access to the central pathology reports, which is very pivotal in these clinical studies, to have a central pathologist that has independently verified all the things, we discovered that of those 90 patients, 21 patients were superficial type or mixed type. So they were not part of the per protocol, because our protocol is specifically and uniquely for nodular type of basal cell carcinoma, which is the real challenge and the most common of the cancers, and also where our needles have always worked the best. So now, of those 69 patients, we still have 3 out of 4 visual clearance, but our histological clearance now has moved from 2 out of 5 to more than 2 out of 4. So this actually points that we now have a registrational or a pivotal study grade data set. So we can now go into an end of phase 2 meeting later this year with now a design which is around that 200 microgram cohort, and perhaps we will have a single arm study with a sham control. So it could be a very cost effective pivotal study, may not cost more than 12 to 15 million dollars. So we feel that our hard work and the support of our shareholders is finally starting to show some good results.
All right, we'll leave it there. Dr. Bokhari, thanks so much. Really great information today, and appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Steve. I think we are now turning the corner on our SkinJect novel treatment, and we're very excited.
All right, well, we'll continue to follow the story. Dr. Raza Bokhari, the CEO of Medicus Pharma.